We started a few minutes late. Had the presenter's nightmare. Computer crashed 10 minutes before the presentation, but nevertheless, we're going to have a great time today. We've got a tremendous speaker today. We've got Alex Powers, who is going to help you up your paginated reporting game. I know I can certainly use some help in that department, so I'm glad to hear what he's got to say. So today, so it is the lunch hour. So, feel free, we used to meet in person and we would we'd bring in some lunch. So we're obviously not doing that, but feel free to have some lunch. And, we do ask you to put yourself on mute, take your camera off and so forth. We got a few announcements. We do have some job opportunities. So excited about that. I actually have, we have two presenters from one company, but quite a few opportunities. So if there's anybody out there looking for a role, definitely stick around for that. We've got a lot of what's new. We've had 2 monthly updates for Power BI come out, and MBAS, which is the largest Power BI related conference of the year. And then, like I say, Alex Powers is going to be talking about paginated reporting. And we'll stick around for as long as you guys want to, or for as long as I can. I got to get back to work too. Okay, so for some announcements, so we wanted to mention the upcoming meetings. So of course today we're hearing from Alex Powers, and then in a month we'll be hearing from Steve Wexler on how to use data visualizations to make better decisions faster. So that's always a great topic. Being able to communicate what your data is trying to tell you. And then right now we are tentatively, and I'll let you add any comments if you'd like. We're tentatively looking at having a dashboard contest in July, date TBD.
Yes, that's right. So we've done this several years, and I think it's always one of our favorite meetings. It's pretty memorable. I remember the time that Sekou and I lost to Kyle Grice. He just soundly beat us at an amazing dashboard. But it's been a lot of fun. I think it'll be interesting doing it virtually. Before, we've always voted with strips of paper and then did like a manual count. So I think it'd be fun to do a live voting on screen and see who wins. But if you're interested, message me on Meetup, or you can email me if you have my email address. And I think we usually have spots for 5 people. So I'll reach out and I think I'd like to participate. But if you're interested, let me know. And you can use data, like data you have at work that you can de-identify, or use any data set in the world. And the people at the meeting will vote on which one they like the best, and we'll declare a winner, and we'll email out our 1,000-member meetup with who the winner was in their dashboard. So look out for that. We'll post that meeting later this month. Thanks.
Well, I'm really excited about that. I remember one year Sekou had a report on I think it was Kobe Bryant. So that was really cool. It had all his stats and so forth. That was a fun one. All right, so let's. So we wanted to mention that there is some Power BI training that's coming up on the 24th and 25th of. I beg your pardon. I apologize. I was up last night about 11 o'clock preparing this deck, and I thought that was May, and I overlooked that. I apologize. But if you want to, this is online. I'm sure they archived this, and no doubt it was a great presentation. But I've actually given some data modeling talks in the past, and data modeling is one of the most important components to understanding how Power BI works. So definitely give this a shot. But I apologize for the confusion here.
Good save, Michael.
Yeah, well, no, I'm sorry. It's my work is very heavy in one specific part of the month, and so that this is that time of the month for me that my work is very congested, and so so anyways, so I apologize for that. I did want to point out, so Will mentioned it's 1,000 member group. In fact, it's actually over 1,400 we've added 102 new members since 2 months ago. So, so obviously a lot of growth in the Power BI community, and that's really great. So we're excited to be able to be a part of that. Also wanted to call out the fact that we have a LinkedIn group. So you can search on the groups for Nashville Power BI user group. There's also a short link here. We'll post the deck, and so you'll have the link to that there. Well, there's also some links later on in the deck that you might want to take a look at. All right, so I wanted to turn it over to Mia Casey to talk about job opportunities. So she works for SerraCore, which is a part of HCA. And I've actually done some work with Mia with SerraCore in the past. All the project work that I did for HCA, which was 5 different projects over the years, Mia was on, I think, every one of those. And I always enjoyed working with Mia. She was an absolute delight. She was a problem solver. She was a hustler in the best sense of the word, meaning that if you had a problem, she got it taken care of. She was just fantastic to work with. So Mia has some job opportunities that she's going to tell us about. And Mia, I will let you take the mic.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Michael. This is so great that 1, you do these events, and 2, that you've included us. So I brought with me Seth Cunningham. He's one of our senior technical recruiters, and he's on the call today. And I first wanted to just kind of connect the dots for everyone. So HCA Healthcare, located in Nashville, Fortune 100 company. Hopefully a lot of you are familiar with HCA. We work in the SerraCore division of HCA. So SerraCore is a wholly owned subsidiary of HCA, and we staff contract projects all across the organization. So right now we actually have 9 openings, and they've got a huge project. They're doing a migration from Tableau to Power BI. And Seth Cunningham is the recruiter on that effort. So he can share a little bit more about how you can apply, how you can reach out to either of us. Seth, are you on?
Yeah, I'm on. Thanks, Mia, for the introduction. Hey, everyone. My name is Seth Cunningham. I am a senior recruiter with SerraCore, HCA Healthcare. And yeah, if you're interested in one of our opportunities, like Mia said, we have several positions currently that we're actively recruiting for in the Power BI space. Please feel free to reach out to me directly or Mia on LinkedIn, as well as you can apply on our website at serracore.net/careers. We have all of our listings on that as well.
Yes, so those interviews, they are getting actively scheduled. So if you happen to be interested in a 6-month contract, I think Michael can attest to this. A lot of times when individuals join our organization in a contract capacity, we're able to find them an extension on their project or potentially place them on another project. We also see contractors convert to full-time. So if you're looking for something more long-term and trying to figure out, okay, how can I, enter in an organization as big as HCA, SerraCore is a really great vessel for that. And also from a contract perspective, we have SerraCore contractor community events. So similar to this, ability to network and also gain professional development and a lot of mentorship from all kinds of leaders across SerraCore and HCA. So just wanted to throw that out there, that we do everything we can to make it a great experience for our contractors. But if you have questions, myself or Seth Cunningham, we'd love to talk to you, even if you're not looking today for a role. We're good resources just to have in your network. But thank you, Michael. We appreciate you including us.
Well, thank you, Mia. I appreciate you guys being here. So it's great to be able to connect, people who may be looking for an opportunity to a great company. Like I say, I've had the opportunity to work with HCA for 5 projects over 5 of the last 6 years. In my last project a little over a year ago, but they're a really great company. Healthcare based in Nashville, and Mia's a wonderful person to be able to work with. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it.
Hey, Michael,
quick
question.
Yep.
On Mia, is this remote or do you have to be local to Tennessee?
Yeah, so Seth, they're accepting remote applicants, is that correct?
Yes, 100% remote.
Yes.
Thank you.
So that's a great question, because I know a lot of you are from all over the US and even outside the US on this call.
That's great. So they were, one other question, they were asking where people were from, and we have quite a few international people on the call today. Do you guys sponsor visas, or I assume that they would need to be US based citizens?
So as far as visas go, Cerecorp does not provide direct sponsorship, but we do have a partner that can provide direct sponsorship. So if you're someone that needs sponsorship, still reach out to us and we can connect you with that partner and see if it aligns for this particular role. And also that's a good partner for other opportunities where, of course, they're providing sponsorship. So it could be a good connection.
All right. Well, that's great to know. All right. Well, that's a great opportunity then for those of our attendants who are overseas. All right. All right, so let's talk a bit about what's new. So like I said, there was a good deal that came out in the last little over 30 days, maybe 40 days or so since our last meeting. So we've had 2 Power BI releases and the Microsoft Business Application Summit. So we're going to go over a few of those. But first of all, I wanted to show you guys a little Excel update that came out recently. So I'm going to get out of this presentation. And so I don't know, I thought this was kind of cool. Will showed something sort of similar to this, but I think it was a little different. So what we're going to do is I'm going to demonstrate something called organizational data types. So what I've got here is a very, very simple data model. It's 1 table, 2 columns, 3 rows, and it's just a kind of fruit and then an image URL to a picture of that fruit. And so what you want to do is you want to go to the data model, and there's 2 important things you want to do. So first of all, we want to assign this as an image URL data category, right? And then you also want to click on the table here, and you want to set this as a featured table. And when you do, you'll get this dialog box that comes up. And you just want to give it a description, your row label, and your key column. Your key column is your primary indicator. And then the row label is, like a person-friendly name. So this might be store ID, and row label would be store name, for example, something like that. But you can create one featured store table, and then people in your organization can use that table and pull information directly from it. And what I want to show you is that you can actually get that information very easily in Excel. And so I want to show you how you do that. So once you publish this up to the data set, Excel is going to recognize that is a featured data set. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight. You'll notice I've got the same, a similar table here. I've got, just fruit down the list of fruit down the side here. And so I'm going to highlight these, and so we're going to go to the data ribbon, and we're going to click. And so here's this data type section, and we're going to click on organization here. And there we go. And we'll bring up this ribbon. And I apologize, this may be a little bit hard to see. But what this is saying here is this is giving me a list of these featured tables that are in the various data sets to which I have access. And then here's the one that I was showing you earlier. And here's that description, the fruits with images. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this table here. And what it's going to do is it's going to associate that table to these particular data points here. And so we'll click on that, and you'll get this little briefcase icon next to each word. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to say equals, and then point to that cell and give it a period. And you'll notice now you have, and again, I apologize, this is a little hard to see, but this is, it says fields, and then it has the 2 fields, fruit and image URL. And so if we click on image URL, and then we hit enter, it brings up the image of the apple. And we just drag this down, and it's going to bring up the image of the orange and the image of the pear. So, I thought this was kind of neat. It's not, not very practical bringing up images of fruit, but just imagine the extensible way that you can add lots of information, put it in one place, and then get access to that information in Excel very, very easily, without having to constantly go pull the same information very laboriously, and have lots of copies of the same information in multiple different places, right? So, you can imagine the ways that this would be a really useful technique. So anyways, this is a new feature in Excel that just came out that I thought was pretty cool. All right, so we've got the Power BI updates for April and May came out, like I say. One of the really cool things that came out in April was that there is now a Power Automate visualization for Power BI. And so what that means is that Power Automate is a tool that allows you to take action very easily on your data. And Power Automate has connectors to, the last I heard, I think it was north of 300 different Microsoft and third-party APIs and connections. And what that means is that you can take actions on a lot of different things. You can write a record, you can send out an email, you can send out a tweet, you can read in a tweet, so on and so forth. You can do a lot of neat things. And the beauty of why this is important is that, if Power Automate is about taking action on your data, Power BI is around making decisions on your data, maybe making a decision on the action to be taken, right? And so what this allows you to do is to have visualizations to gain insight from and make decisions about your data. And then right there in the same pane of glass, in the same view, you have a tool to take actions on that data, right? So you don't have to leave. You don't have to go back and forth. You don't have to take notes and then go off and take those actions. You can take the actions in the moment, and it really helps sort of streamline that whole process of of decision to insight to value, and hopefully brings that time to value down. More enhancements to the small multiples. They keep updating the small multiples every month, it seems. I'm not going to go through these. You can watch the video. It's available online. Well, some of these are a little smaller than others, obviously. They did update the way that they're sharing reports now. It's much more consistent with the way that you would share, say, a file in OneDrive, for example. It's very sort of visually and mechanically consistent to that. And the May release, again, more updates to the small multiples. And then they also made a lot of the AI-based things generally available. For example, the smart narratives and the anomaly detection. So there were the May update didn't have a lot of big things in it because there was actually a lot that was in MBAS. And so let me actually go over that. So there was actually the Power BI Summit that was April 19th to the 23rd. And that was actually one that was sponsored by a company called Radicad. I think you have to pay to get access to those videos, but I just wanted to let you know that those are out there and a source of information. We'll have this deck available on the Meetup site, and you can get this, you can download this deck, and all these are hyperlinked to where these articles are. Like I said, the Power Automate visual, you can also use the XML endpoint to update data sources in Power BI data sets. So that's a bit of a next level geeky kind of thing, but that's pretty nice. This would be very useful if you had data sets in like dev, QA, and prod, for example, that you can update your data sources that way. There's some other examples of how that might be useful as well. Also, the Microsoft Business Application Summit, the biggest Power BI related conference of the year, took place earlier this month, and so there's a recap of all the big announcements that they had. One of those big announcements was something called goals, and so it kind of is what you imagine it to be. You can use goals where you just sort of input a goal, and you can also have what are called data-based goals. And so you can actually, say for example, track against the sales metrics. So you can track, you can place a goal and then have a measure of how well you're doing that sort of drives how well you're attaining that goal. But there's also the option for a manual update as well, if that makes more sense. Something that I thought was kind of cool, again, it's a bit geeky, but you can get a query plan visual for Power Query online. It's not available for Power Query in the desktop yet, but so if you wanted to see where your Power Query algorithms, where your ETL algorithms are taking up a lot of time, then this is a way that it can help you make those more performant. So I thought that was kind of neat. And there's also a feature for backup and restore Power BI data sets. So I remember when I was my last project for HCA, I was working not on this project, but I was working with a team that did a lot of government reporting. And so you can imagine that you might need to be able to report on something as a specific date and time. And so it might be important for them to be able to back up that data set at a specific date and time, so that if they need to report from that old data set, that they can restore that data set. So it could be important for certain regulatory and reporting requirements. Power Apps, you can now utilize data source environment variables. So again, what I was talking earlier about dev, QA, and prod, and sort of taking something through those environments, that's good for being able to swap those out very easily. And also the customer advisory team created something called an adoption maturity model. I will say that it's a little lengthy, but it is thorough, and it is really, really excellent. So if you guys are looking at adopting Power Apps or the Power Platform, specifically Power Apps, in your organization, then I would definitely encourage you to give that a look, because it is a great roadmap from the customer advisory team. What they do basically is consult with clients and help them implement the Power Platform and Power Apps within their organization. So they've seen a lot of cases and have a good idea of what that maturity model looks like. New AI builder updates for Power Automate. Like I said, you can trigger flows from within Power BI reports with the new new Power BI visual. There's some interesting stuff that they're doing with Adobe, and also you can now trigger desktop flows directly from the web. This is something that I thought would be interesting for a presentation 1 month Power Automate desktop. So maybe I'll see if I can find somebody who's willing to present on that next quarter.
That would be great.
Have you ever used it, Will?
No, I haven't. I've been wanting to. I just haven't had a chance.
Well, maybe I'll convince you to do it. All right, so those are the major updates, and we've only got about an hour left, and I want to give the full hour to Alex, who is on the Microsoft Power BI customer advisory team, and I believe is a principal program manager. Did I get that right, Alex?
Senior, not yet. Working my way to the top. CEO, last stop.
Okay. All right. Well, he is going to tell us all about Paginated Reports, and I know I could use a lot of help in that area, so I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. All right, Alex, I will let you take it away, sir.
Cool. All right. Well, first, just thank you everyone for your time and attendance. I am going to shut down the video just with the live demo. You got to have as much bandwidth as possible. So the one thing I don't want is things to crash. People are saying I'm fuzzy. Give me one moment. Let me try here. Chat mic. Else. Any better? Worse?
Much better.
Much better? All right. Who knows with these things? All right. So first and foremost, thank you, everyone. I'm going off video. Need all the bandwidth. Sorry. Goodbye. And then I'll start sharing my screen here in just a moment and we'll get started. All right. So 1 second here. Zoom is always interesting. Share screen, then have to hit share screen. Awesome. So for those in the chat, if you do want to follow along today, I went ahead and dropped in there for us. Someone might need to help me here. Meeting controls, somewhere around here. All right, aka.ms/PBI workshops. This will take you out to a GitHub repo. I just do all these in an hour sessions. So whether it be kind of DAX Studio, ALM Toolkit, I always look at just, hey, how can we introduce as many things as possible, point in the right directions in kind of this 1 hour time frame. So today it's going to be paginated reports in an hour. If you have not already, download, install Power BI Report Builder. Also download the Contoso sample file. So here in the prerequisites, just for uploading it into the Power BI service, either a Power BI Pro or a premium per user license. The data set itself does not need to reside in a premium workspace. So I'll hit home on that. Once again, the data set itself can be in a shared capacity, so a pro only. It is only the front end visual of that paginated that needs to be in a premium workspace. So little confusing, but maybe that's good for you. Maybe that's bad. You don't want to use your premium compute. Maybe if it's like a shared data set here, so just kind of keep that in mind. I always do it kind of the easy way here. I just go to that get data bottom in the bottom left. And then whenever you get there, just choose the local file kind of from the files, upload that PBX file. Hopefully you'll be good to go. You can do some local stuff as well if you wanted to really get the local host port, et cetera, but not even throwing you into that abyss today. So download, upload into the service. Power BI Report Builder, we'll jump into that here in one moment, but let me go ahead and introduce myself here real quick. So my name is Alex Powers, Senior Program Manager here with Power BI CAT, so the customer advisory team. Located in St. Louis, Missouri, born in the community, raised by the community, learned from the community, so I'm a 100% a community guy. So everything that I try and learn, I learn from the community. Anything I learn along the way, I also try and share back as well. So I am not from a traditional SQL Server reporting services background. I'm just now learning paginated reports myself. So I'm always thinking about this. Well, how can I share what I'm learning or what I'm going through, with the users, kind of running circles with here across Twitter, LinkedIn, and wherever else. Background myself, traditionally Excel into Power BI, open the door into Azure, kind of all the fun things. On a more personal note, I'll just let you know, crunchy peanut butter is the only peanut butter. I don't understand how people enjoy smooth. It makes no sense to me. It's not welcome in my household. Unfortunately, the wife, she loves smooth, so it finds its way, but I just don't get it. I don't get it. And then just an absolute love for Nintendo NES. I always love the complexity and simplicity. So how do we take something that maybe looks simple and really kind of dive into, what are the complex things we need to think about as we're approaching our problems? So hopefully by now I've stalled enough for you. You've been able to download, you've been able to install. I've done my work here. But let me go and pause here. Is there anyone that's following along that would like me to go ahead and hold on for a moment? If you're still getting ready. So I'll pause here. And then Michael or Sako, I might ask you to just kind of manage the chat here for me, if you don't mind.
Will do.
Awesome, thank you. Very vocal, just exciting guy. So if you see something in the moment, please feel free to just jump off mute. You can leverage the chat if you need to, but if it's like, hey, Alex, don't move forward, can you go into that a little bit more? Happy to do that for those moments. If it is something so far in the weeds, I'll be like, hey, let's put that in the parking lot for the very end. But just know you are welcome to come off mute, ask questions as we go through, ideally top to bottom here today. So let me jump back to that page. So if there is a specific section where you're like, Alex, you were just moving way too fast, in this 1 hour, this GitHub is here for you. Do it once, do it twice, do it 3 times, just until you get those reps, until you feel comfortable. But with that, let's go ahead and start here with just the initial setup of Power BI Report Builder. Hopefully you'll see maybe this getting started screen. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. Hopefully you can see that here as well. We've confirmed that zooming works. So with the getting started, it talks to wizards, table wizards, chart wizards, map wizards. This is the one time where I'm like, yes, wizards are great. They help you. I'm usually not a big wizards, ninjas, and spiritual gurus kind of person, but the wizards here in Report Builder are awesome. So I'm going to press X. At the very top here within our view, let me go ahead and snap this to the right. And then we will snap our page to the left. If I can snap it. Awesome. So we're going to navigate now to the View tab. We want to enable our properties, our grouping, and parameters. So we'll see our properties pane, our grouping pane here at the very bottom, and then also our parameters. Awesome. So we've now got all of the shows and hides of our panes ready to go here within Report Builder. Objective first is we're going to leverage the query design builder. So we're going to connect out to that data source that we just uploaded. And then we're going to connect to that Power BI data set. So this is kind of interesting now. So we're connecting to a data set as a data source. So here in our report data pane on the very left, we're going to right click this data source option. We're going to select add a Power BI data set connection. This will now show us all of the workspaces that we have access to. Unfortunately, this search only searches that current workspace. It does not search for all the names. So, one step forward, two steps back here. So I'm just going to go ahead and search for the workspace that I uploaded that to. So my Paginated Reports in an hour. This is a shared workspace. Click on that data set, press select, and we are now connected. We've connected to a data set. This is our data source. And now we want to add a data set from our data source. So here, once again, now we're going to click on the data sets. So we're going to right click. We're going to say add a data set. So maybe it's a little confusing in terms of terminology, but here we're going to select from our data source on the right-hand side, the Contoso sample. So I'll go ahead and zoom in here. So this will be on the data source. Just click on the drop down, and then we'll want to select the query designer here. So at the very bottom. This will open up a window where we can look at our data model, all of the relationships that currently exist. It's bringing all that metadata in, of our contents. So here now in the query designer, we can see our currency table, our customer table, dates, products, sales. So from here, we want to go ahead and add a few of these columns. I'll just say after years and years and years of video games and pointing and clicking, I'm not very good with kind of the precision. So kind of my tricks here is I move up or down with my kind of arrow keys. And then from here, I can click right to expand, left to collapse. And then whenever I find a field, I believe we might be able to hit spacebar, not in this example. So in this one, we'll just drag over kind of the field here. So I'll do date, drop that in here to our query pane. We're also going to use our product table. So here we're going to expand this out now, category, just drag and drop, just add it. We're also going to do product brand, and we're going to use two measures here now. So from our measures at the very top, now go ahead and zoom in here. We're going to select both the total sales and then the total units. So drop this here. So total sales, drop that in, and then quantity. Oof, there's quite the zoom. Date, category, brand, total sales, number of quantity. You can click to execute the query, or you can press the red execute query here at the very top. We now see that it's written this query here for us, just this drag and drop using the graphical user interface. Everything looks good here in terms of our model. We also have a search model here at the very top. It's very small, very difficult to find. Just if you want to type out the kind of terminology, go ahead and do so. But let's go ahead and press OK. And this will take us back here. And we'll see that a DAX query has now been generated for us. So we see the evaluate, we see the summarize columns. It's bringing in those columns and also kind of those aggregate values. Awesome. And then we want to update the name property to sales. So let's go ahead and do that here just at the very top before we press OK. Cool. Press OK. Left-hand side within our report data, we now have the data sets, and we also have our data source. So here are all the columns from our data set, which is sourced from our data source. So can just kind of hit home on that terminology. Let me pause here. Everyone that's following along, hopefully good at this point. Mike or Sco, anything that we need to kind of call out?
One question from Anthony. Can you create further measures in paginated reports?
Oh yeah, you can create your own calculated if you'd like. So all of that is still possible over here if you want to write your own custom DAX or even kind of do like a calculated column here. So if I was to right click, add a calculated field, those are capabilities you can do. Once again, I would probably look at, hey, what's the trade-off of doing it in one place or the other? Outside of today's scope, but yes, you can do this type of things. Very cool. Awesome. So let's move on then to our table. So we have this data. All of our users are yelling at us all the time. I love Power BI. I love it. But how do I export to Excel? It breaks my heart. But you know what? If that's part of the requirement for the project, just go and get them that big flat table export. So first off, we're going to set our margins. So within our properties pane now, I'm just going to click here. And then for our page size here on the right-hand side, like I said, just a little bit of precision. This tiny little property here, so page size. I'm going to go and expand this out now. And then we're going to look at the margins property. I apologize. Here we go. So margins for our left and right margins, we're going to set these now to 0.5. And then our right, we're going to also set that to 0.5. So now left margin 0.5, right margin 0.5, top and bottom 1 inch. So you can get very kind of precision here with the paginated report. We're going to insert now a table visual. So at the very top of our ribbon, insert. You can also right click in the white space, insert, just multiple places to do things. Insert, we're going to use the table. We're just going to insert a table now. Point and click. It's going to go ahead and add that here now for us. Our header rows, then also our data. So from left to right, I wish there was a multi-select where we could drag, drop, we just build them all in kind of one go, but unfortunately just not the case. So right here with our little add data kind of button, we're going to select our date. Also going to use our category. We're going to do a brand. Then of course you can right click and do insert new columns to the right, or you can just drag and drop them here from the data sets. So I'll drag and drop total sales and also our ID quantity. Big flat table, everything's looking good. I don't really like this ID quantity, so I'm going to update that property here, just the visual representation of the column header. So instead of ID quantity, I'm going to type in just total quantity. And then we want to update just this column header row. So the category and then also our brand, our width and our height. So here for a category, go ahead and click on that column now to get those properties. And then from here in the kind of current properties pane, the position category, we're going to look for the size. So here at the very bottom, we're going to update the width to 2.5. I'm going to go and zoom in here now. So the width here to 2.5, and then also our heights, which is going to be 0.25. Awesome. This is why I miss zoom it. This is why I miss zoom it. 0.25. Great. And then our brand, we're going to do 1.5. So if we select the brand here in our properties pane, we're going to go down to our position group. Select the size, and then we're going to do 1.5 here for this item. Very cool. And then our formatting now. So for our date column, we want to represent those as date values. So if I select the date column here within the home tab, we're going to go over to our number group, and I'm going to change this from a default to a date. And then I'm going to select both the total sales and total quantity. Let me see if I can steal a little bit of this page in the middle. Total sales, total quantity. You select both, just hold Control, click over. I believe also Control will go ahead and multi-select or shift. So with this now, we're going to set these total sales to currency at the very top. Then also total quantity, we're going to set that to just to a number. And here, once again, just with this table object, we want to go and move it just to the left-hand side here. We're going to select the entire column header row. So with this object on the left-hand side, click on this object. All column headers are now selected, and then you can choose your own favorite background color. I'm not trying to give you style guidance tips today. So here now we've selected the header row within our properties pane. Again, we're going to look for kind of our fill options here. So fill, background color. Go and zoom in. So our color options, click on this here now. Any color you want. You can use RGB, hex values. You can use the name of the actual color here. So in my example, I'm just going to do kind of this blue. Choose that. So I see that blue has now been updated. I can also do kind of formatting here at the very top on our home. So the text format, I'm going to do just a blue and white, just kind of make it nice and easy to kind of look at. Scrolling down here, let's see how this page is starting to look. So at the very top, home, I'm going to press run. Big flat tables. That's what everyone loves. Speaks to everyone's heart. Scroll down. Oh, I'm kind of noticing the header row isn't kind of coming with to the next page. Kind of an issue. Just a lot of kind of white space here also yelling at me. It's difficult to kind of see, the different row by row. So maybe like a color banding would be helpful. So let's go back to our design then. Now kind of seeing this table, not quite what we were wanting. So I'm going to press the design button again. This will take us back to kind of our original view. Here at the very top then, header. I know that I have this title here. I want to add a little bit more information. So I'll do insert. The very top, now do header on the right-hand side. So header and footer. So if I select this here now, you can see header options. You can see footer options. So I'm going to add a header. We have our title. I'm just going to click on this object. Like I said, it's a little bit of precision here. You'll get used to it over time. You want to click on the edges and then just drag and drop this text box to the very top. And then we'll add Contoso sales results here within the text box. Contoso sales results. Control A, Control B, all of your hotkeys still work. Feel free to use them as needed. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up here now. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull this up a little bit. Kind of get my header row there. I've got this table as well. I want to position this as close as possible to the left-hand side of the page. So here with my kind of table selected and clicking the top left, it's now selecting the table object and the position on the right-hand side. So within that group, we have location currently 0.53, 0.89. I want to get that updated now to just 0 and 0. So left 0. Go down 1, top 0, perfectly at the top of my page, loving it. So my tablix properties. What does tablix mean? It means table list matrix. So kind of a shared property there between the three. Go ahead and just tighten this up a little bit here on the right-hand side. Awesome. And then I have this row by row, but I also need kind of that grand total. So I'm going to right click now here on my total sales. And I'm going to say, let's go and add a total row. So here at the very bottom, I right click on that, add total row. Click on here now. Total sales now been added. I also want to do that for my total quantity. So I'll do that here. I'll add it for quantity. I'll just click on this selector ID quantity. Added the sum here for us. We can always update that aggregate as needed. Then I also want to add a little bit of freeform text. It's maybe something that isn't within my table. So on the first cell of my total row, I'm just going to call this grand total. Control A, Control B, all of the hotkeys still work. Just add a little bold. If you want, you can obviously change the colors, whatever it is you want. Here at the very bottom, I remember that execution time. So when was this report last executed? Provide that timestamp for me. I was a little confused. Wasn't really quite sure what the developer of the report was trying to tell me. So I'm going to right click on this option here now, execution time. I'll choose expression. And I see the expression box here. So these are just built-in fields. So in this example, category, built-in fields, execution time, the date and time that the report began to run. I want to concatenate a little bit of text here at the very beginning. So right after my equals, I'm going to do double quotes, run, time, colon, space, colon, ampersand, getting us concatenated, run time, ampersand, execution time. Just providing some help there for our end users. Press OK. Expression has now been added. We can go and just move this here to the far right-hand side. Maybe stretch out a little bit if we really need to. And we want to bring this bottom up here. Just get rid of any of this white space. So I really want to get things nice and close here for my users. I've got this Contoso sales. We're talking about that row banding that existed. So I need to go to my grouping pane here at the very bottom now. A very interesting, very hidden little thing here on the right-hand side. This little chevron, click on it, go to advanced mode. So if we click in here now, I see my static headers. I see the details of each row. I see the static very grand total here at the very bottom here within my row groups. So with my statics, my header rows, I want to click on here now. And then on the right-hand side, I have this repeat on new page property within my other category. So I'm going to change false to true. If I can get there with zoom. There we go, false to true. Now updated. And then we want to go in and right click here, just on this group properties as well. Some more properties all over the place. Right click on details. I see general, I see page breaks, visibility, filtering. So if you want to do additional filtering on your elements, just past the initial query, you're fine to do so. So I'm going to go to sorting. I want to go ahead and add a sorting order. So sort by, I want to do it by my date. And I just want the newest to the oldest. So from Z to A. So we'll just change that property. So now whatever is visually rendered here, it's be rendered by date, newest to oldest. And then this last item, this color banding, you're just saying, Alex, there's so much here of properties, configurations. You know, there's got to be an easy way here to do color banding on the table, right? Unfortunately not. So on the left-hand side here, we're going to select our details row. We're going to get all of those kind of row by row items. And we're going to change our background color. So here on the right-hand side now in our fill background color, we're going to go from no color. We're not going to choose anything. We're going to actually create an expression. So here at the very bottom, set expression for background color. And we're going to use this expression here on the left-hand side. So equals if, so if, so immediate if, row number is nothing. So we're not going to include any objects here. We're going to mod, so modulo 2 equals 1. So if the number of the row divided by 2 equals 1, so you know, however much is remaining, this is now asking us if it's an odd number of row, do this thing. If not, do this other thing. So first, I'm just going to say, let's not include a color, just no color. At the very bottom of our values, we recall no color. We can type in the name. So here in my example, I'm just going to type in kind of a silver. So comma silver. And I'll zoom in here, just if you need to kind of see here. So if row number equals nothing, modulo it by 2 equals 1. So is it even? Is it odd? If branch true, don't provide any color in the background. If it is kind of false, go ahead and change that row to silver now.
Hey, Alex, quick question. Can you do RGB there instead of no color? Okay.
You got it. Yep. You can get as fine-tuned and precise as you need to be.
Cool. Thanks.
Yep. Awesome. So we have this big flat table, got our header rows, we've got a grand total, we've got our headers, we've got our footers. Let's go ahead and press home, run. Oh, beautiful. It's 1980s, it's the 70s, it's whatever. You know
Yeah.
what? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so a few questions here. So, so somebody was asking, is it possible to create new calculated measures in the Power BI data set directly from within the report builder, or do you have to go back to the desktop or tabular editor or something like that?
Oh, you can do things here. So within that DAX query, or kind of add in the calculated fields. So we'd be able to kind of dive into that if people needed to. Not in today's session, but yeah, you can do additional things outside of the data set.
Okay. And somebody was asking, if they don't see the data sets there, is there a reason why they might not be seeing it? They need to pull those in from somewhere, set those up?
For on the left-hand side, kind of within the data sources? Or,
yeah.
So originally you need to connect out to kind of your data source. So maybe it's a Power BI data set, SQL Server, or, whatever it is. After you've made that connection, then you start building data sets on top of that. So this is where it's a little confusing, because you're like, well, why don't I connect to my data set within data sets group? Well, that's not how it works over here. So like right here, add data source. I mean, if you're doing a more traditional kind of SQL Server, Teradata, et cetera, where you can write the actual SQL yourself, you can make that direct connect. So, but after you've made the data source connection, that's when you can start building the data sets. Interesting terminology. Like I said, it's just very different. But let me go and pause here. Tables, I know we did a lot of configurations. We've got the whole list here on the left-hand side. But really, the thing I want to hit home on is, if you have a request that a lot of people are needing to do over and over and over again, just build a flat, kind of an empty table here as like a starter file. It's like a template file. So in this way, you don't have to do all these configurations every single time. You say, I've got my header row stylized. I've got my rows banded already in terms of color. Maybe I've got some of these other items as well in terms of like a standard footer, or maybe it's like a company logo. Just create an RDL file that's empty. It does not have any connections. Start stylizing things. Save that as your starter template. You don't have to do this over and over and over again, kind of, within every project that you have. But let me pause here before we kind of move on into parameters and expressions. Any questions? I know we were moving extremely fast here. There was just a lot of points and clicks.
Yeah, just a quick one is I asked in the chat is, can you do custom format for a field? So where you did like a number on one, can you do like a custom date format or something like that?
Oh yeah. So, I mean, everything is customizable here. So, I mean, just like total sales, if I was to click on this one, we can make an expression here. So if sales is above 500, do this thing, provide this color, indicators, whatever it is that you want. All of this is customizable.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Your imagination is the limit here, is what I'm finding. So let me go and press cancel here then.
One more other one is on the paginated reports, as also said, does it aggregate all that data, or is it actually showing all the individual rows in the table or from the data source?
In my example, we're just showing the transactional level detail. So we're just doing kind of that row by row, just bring me back all the raw fields. Okay. But you can definitely do that if you wanted to kind of have that. And that's just all available within the expressions. Let me just go ahead and save this, and I'll kind of jump back over here one more time. Expressions. If we were to go down to kind of operators, arithmetic, common functions, math, sum, count, average, min. I mean, you can do all the fun stuff here too. Just a new language, new thing to kind of work on here. So our next section now, we're going to look at.
Quick question, Alex.
Yeah,
quick question.
go ahead.
All right, general use case question. Why would someone use Paginated Reports versus Power BI?
It could be the volume of data that they're trying to bring into the Power BI data set at a transactional grain of this. It's just way too much. They can't get to it. This is where I've been talking a lot about, like, hey, as developers, you should start thinking about like this hybrid approach where you say, I'll give you the 24-hour summary, but if you really want to get to that low level of granular detail, let's go ahead and offload that activity over to a paginated report. Maybe it's also kind of regulatory, if you're government, some kind of standard industry where the template needs to look the exact same all the time. Paginated, like it said, just the amount of configurations, subscriptions, just being able to export these kind of in bulk, just a lot of opportunities. But we'll get to some of the visual elements here as well. So this is just kind of the 99% of users will probably just need a big flat table. Here's how to go about that.
Alex, we encountered this issue with a project we were working on, that question about using paginated, where a particular retention model, we cannot do that in Power BI because Power BI doesn't have recursive functions to be able to do it on the fly. So we had to use paginated reports so they could use direct queries straight into the SQL Server to be able to display it.
So backups, kind of that, historical snapshots, other great ideas. So let's move on to parameters, expressions. People want to start taking some action here with the data, right? They don't want to just have the big flat table every time. So within kind of our report data pane, we're going to right click on this sales data set. I'm going to go back to the original query. And then we're going to jump back over to that query designer here one more time. So whenever this loads, we'll click on that button. So here within our query designer, I'm going to add the dimension from our product. Then we're going to choose our brand within our hierarchy, and then our operator, equals, does not equal, contains, maybe within our range. So think like a start and end date. And then I'm just going to choose Contoso just to kind of get us up and running with this one. So expand this out, Contoso. And then here on the right-hand side, my parameters. I know it's very small to see, these tiny little pointers. They're giving me anxiety. Click on it. It's so small. Press OK. Awesome. So now within this, let's go and take a look. Report data pane, expand the parameters folder. Left-hand side, we now see the product brand has been added. I right-click here, parameter properties. I see the brand. Things that we want to do is I want to go and disallow blank values, and then I also deselect the allow multiple values. So I just want one value at a time, kind of depending upon the person. And then for default values, I'm going to go ahead and change this to no default value. So I'm going to just get rid of that here. Every user that shows up, they need to set the value. They can kind of set their own subscription after the fact. But now that we have this created, our parameters, left-hand side, we've done this with the query designer, press run. Sweet. So brand, select a value. I'm going to choose AdventureWorks, press view report, click in the dropdown, executing the query. I see all my brands, AdventureWorks, category dates. Awesome, awesome, awesome. What's something that's jumping out to you though? Just like right off the bat, in the top left there. It's the wrong company, right? Like Contoso. Well, I didn't select Contoso. I selected AdventureWorks. Like, what is going on here? Show the correct brand. All right, so I remembered here the runtime concatenated. We did that with the kind of field here. So I'm going to jump back into design view. And I'm starting to put the pieces together here again. So if I right-click Contoso sale results, go to expression builder, I'm going to build my own custom expression here now. So at the very beginning here, I'm just going to get rid of all this text. If I go to my category parameters, I'm going to zoom in here now. I see product brand. I can just go ahead and double-click this. Parameters, kind of exclamation product brand dot value, ampersand, a little space, sales results, close parentheses, press OK. So we're building our own custom expression here now. Run, kind of this current report. We're going to have our drop down again. Brand, change it now. I'll do Northwind Traders. Why not? We'll see what they're up to. Press view report. Northwind Traders sales results. Change it again. Maybe go to Tailspin Toys. Let's see how they're doing. Tailspin Toys sales results. So everything here is dynamic. You can change it, whatever presentation you need to put. Maybe it's a company logo. So based upon their selection, go find this value, summarize the entire column, choose whatever it is, provide the end user's name on the report, whatever imagination that you have that you want to build in these custom expressions, things you can explore. All All right, so we did the flat table. We did some expressions here. Before we move on to kind of groups and sparklines, is there any questions here with regards to parameters, kind of giving your end users those options? Because I know a lot of people are like, why don't I have more parameters on the Power BI report page? Paginated could be just a great kind of a use case here for those.
Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
As I understand it, going forward, adding a paginated report to a Power BI report, it's got the cross referencing, the cross filtering. How can you build it in so that no matter what the user is selecting in their data exploration, somehow that comes across to the paginated report?
What are you thinking there, Dave? Can you expand on that?
Well, I mean, the PBI is, click on this, and
yep.
whatever combination of selections you've made, if the paginated report is built in, it's going to filter down to whatever the user has selected. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. So
statement?
thinking about that paginated report visual that's about to land, you've built a paginated report. You've now added it to your report page. These parameters are going to be how that visual is dynamically adjusted. So I click on a bar chart. It has a parameter that's, kind of bound to this. I'll use this brain as an example. Got a brand of, bar charts, click on AdventureWorks, and then dynamically filters the paginated report visual on the page.
Right.
That's awesome. That's fun. But that configuration does need to happen. If it's more of like a true exploration activity that the end user is looking for, right tool for the right cause, to me, that sounds like an Excel pivot table if they're really trying to do just free form exploration.
Okay.
That's my thoughts, though.
Okay.
Love to hear if anyone else has different thoughts.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, welcome. Anyone else before we continue? I know we've got 24 minutes here. We've got our big flat table taking care of 95% of folks.
Alex, I was going to say, like you said, you can do anything with paginated reports. So you could pass all the context from all the filters from Power BI to paginated reports. It just might be a development effort to do that, but you can do it. You can actually, since the DAX query is an expression, it is completely dynamic. So you could pass in a parameter that is DAX filter. So if you could build the DAX filter over on the Power BI side, pass it over, and then create that DAX dynamically, it would work. So
there's a lot of new opportunities and kind of light bulbs going on with the kind of the blending of the two. Now where it's like, all right, I'm going to build this in Power BI desktop, more of a summary, build this over in Paginated, maybe more of a kind of the granular detail or something fun in terms of like a visual layer. But yeah, opportunities are endless here. So let's dive in then maybe to groups and sparklines. We're gonna kind of use the table wizard here, just create a group table and add sparklines. In my example, I've just saved this as table. I'm gonna go ahead and save it again. And I'm just gonna go ahead and delete this here. So get out of here, sales, don't need you, don't want you. Creating a whole new report. Get rid of all these. Cool. So here I'm gonna add a new data set. Like I said, I've got my base templates here now created. So I'm gonna add this data set. I'm gonna call this manufacturers from my data source, which is our paginated report in an hour. And then here on the left-hand side, I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this DAX query. So this evaluate statement. I'm gonna go ahead and paste this now into this FX. So this query dot command text. So especially if you are building, your DAX queries, maybe in DAX Studio, kind of using their query builder, build it over there, copy and paste over here. The wizards are great, but they aren't everything, especially if you need that kind of activity. Let's go and press OK. And then we have our fields on the left-hand side. We have options, filters, parameters. So a lot of things we were doing kind of previously. Let me go and expand this out here now. All of our fields have been mapped, it executed that query. So our data source field, field name. I want to go and update this here though, provide user-friendly names. So instead of this prefix of the table, I'm just gonna call it calendar year. You cannot have spaces, so just keep that in mind. There are kind of special character kind of requirements here. So I'm going to use underscores. Do month number. Just get them updated here, manufacturer, and then total sales. Keeping them consistent here for us. Total underscore sales. Awesome. Press OK. New data set added here. I'm going to go to the insert tab. Here's step number 5. We're going to insert a matrix. We're going to use that wizard I was talking about. So we're going to use the matrix wizard from the data set and manufacturers that we just created. Press next. I have my available fields, rows, columns, values. So almost at this point, it's kind of reminding me of kind of like the pivot table within Excel. So here now, calendar year in my row groups, and just drag and drop it into row groups. Manufacturer also within my row groups. And then I'm going to go and put my month here within my column groups. So just give me the results by each month, and then values, which is total sales. Here on the values, we're going to go and expand the chevron on the right-hand side, and we're going to choose the aggregate that we'd like to use. So in this example, I just want to use it by sum. So total sales, press next. Oh, no. Hopefully it retained. Oh, awesome. Great design. So choose the layout, block subtotal below, subtotal above. I don't know who does that, but maybe there's a requirement out there. Stepped is pretty good, but we'll just use the block subtotal below. Press next. Looks awesome. Press finish. Love this little wizard. I've got my matrix here now added. You can resize things here as needed. So if you just want to drag that over a little bit, calendar year, just drag it over a little bit. Not really too worried about the formatting here, but obviously OCD, got it. Press run. I can choose my brand. Apparently I don't even have that, so I'll just delete that parameter here real quick. Get rid of that, delete. And then we're gonna have expand, collapse. So I'm gonna expand out my calendar year, CY 2007. I see all my manufacturers, it's group by, it's got all of the details here. I love this. April, February, January, June. All right, so something is wrong though. It's doing that alphabetical sort here on my column headers when really I need that, January, February, March. So out of order here at the very top. So let's do design. And then I remember these groupings that we had talked about last time. So here, because this is my columns, I want to go to kind of the columns groups. If I want, I can click on kind of the advanced mode, turn that off, leave it on. But I'm going to click on this month, and I'm going to do group properties. I remember we talked about the various formatting here within kind of left-hand side. So in this example, I want to do the sorting. And then I want to sort by, instead of the month, I want to sort by the month number that I contain within my query. Awesome. A to Z looks good there. So 1, 2, 3, just kind of continue to sort, press OK. And then here, if we run this now, so press run. Expanded matrix, press the plus, January, February, March, April, May, June. Awesome. Looking good. Still a little bit more information here though that we want to add, maybe like some visual representation of the kind of the data's movement. So I'm going to jump back into my design view again. And I want to click on the month. I'm going to just right click this. I'm going to say insert a column. We're going to say outside group to the right. So I don't want to have it within the group, just a little bit on the outside here. And then we're going to start adding kind of a trend. So let's call trend is our new column. I'll right click over here, get a little bit of space. And then we're going to insert a spark line. So remember, insert at the top, or we can right click, insert spark line here on the right. What sparkline do you want? All these old icons. Everyone's probably like, hey, these look very familiar. I remember these from the old Power BI days. It's interesting how much that they kind of borrowed here from Paginated. My example, though, I want to use the lines. I'm going to use these smooth lines with markers. So I'm going to click on that now, press OK. Got this very cool chart here. If I can get it. Oh, the precision is killing me. Click on the chart. I now have these chart data options. If I can go to the right. So what are the values that I want to kind of see move over time? What are the category groups? So for my groups, I want to use the month number. So just 1, 2, 3 through 12. And then also my values. I'm going to press values plus, use that total sales. I don't want the count. That wouldn't be very helpful. It's going to be 1. So let's do count of sales. We're going to change the aggregate now to a sum. Awesome. So I have this spark line. I've got my matrix. Very easy here if I was to press just kind of a run now, home, run. I see the spark line, how my data is kind of moved over time here. But really, I want this kind of at that row level of detail, right? Like I want to see how AdventureWorks moved. I want to see how Northwind Traders moved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back over to design. So I have this table. I have this spark line. I'm just going to go ahead and Control C this object. Control X works as well. I'm going to paste it in right here. So I'll paste that in to my trends. So for that individual cell. And then here at the very bottom, we'll kind of skip that here. Well, let's go ahead and run kind of this item. I'll paste it one more time here on the second row, just in the spirit of time. We're going to delete that, press run. Cool. So I see that data movement again here. So CY 2007. If I had a CY 2008, I would see how that moved. Expand out now. I have all of the spark lines, how my data moved for each individual item. So if you think about that row within our matrix, it's almost like an iterator. So for each row of this table, based on the manufacturer, show me how the data moved. So almost kind of like that filtering context now here for us. So I see that here now, my trends. You can use displays to kind of show and hide here on step number 20. Like I said, just kind of come up to the top of the hour. So we'll skip that here. But let me go and pause here. Having a matrix, expand, collapse, kind of having that drill. Also having kind of visuals. So in our example, we added a spark line. You could just as easily, right click, insert. You could choose if it'll show up. You can use charts, you can use data bars, all of these different items. Just copying and pasting them into your tables, into your matrices. Let me pause here. Any questions with regards to now adding visuals kind of to your Paginated report? Silence is golden. Anything popping up from the chat that we should look at?
No, I think we're good to go.
Sweet. Well, all right. So we did a table. We've done a matrix. Let's now maybe look at like a list. So I've got this requirement. People are wanting these single value cards. They want them added to the report just over and over and over again. All right. So let me think about how I'd approach this with maybe kind of the Paginated report. I'm just going to delete my matrix here again, just kind of moving on. So adding dynamic indicators and parameters. So here in our example, we're going to navigate to our parameters group. We're going to add a few items here. So I'm going to right click on parameters, add a parameter. We're going to choose start dates. And then our prompt, what do we want it to display to our end user? We'll just use start space date, kind of making it readable. Our data type will be date, time. We're also going to add another one here. Press OK. We're going to add an end date. Oh gosh, wrong order, wrong order. So let's do end here at the very top. End date, using our date time again. Press OK. Great thing at the very top is I'm seeing the calendar picker, so that's awesome to see. Then I also want to add a threshold. So just be kind of a number for our end users to kind of add here. So threshold, prompt, threshold. Our data type for this one will just be kind of the integer. Default value, you can add it if you'd like. So my example, specify the values, get values from a query, whatever you'd kind of like to add here. So I'll press OK. We've now added 3 parameters to our report. I want to go ahead and add this DAX expression here once again that we've kind of had for just copying and pasting. So I'll right click on manufacturers, just get rid of it again. Create a new data set here now. We're going to copy and paste this here into our expression on the right-hand side. So our Contoso sample. Got my date query starting at 2007, ending at 2007, press OK. Nice and beautifully formatted so the Italians will be happy. And then here I'll call this occupations. Our fields, we get those populated here now. So I've got both occupation and total sales, just making those fields nice and readable, building that muscle memory, repetition, total sales. And then we also want to look at our parameters here at the very bottom. So choose query parameter values. I'll go and press add again. So the parameter name will be start date. The parameter that I want to use is that start date parameter. So I'm just kind of mapping those two here now. Jump back over to data set properties. And then the second one I want to add is end date. And I want to use that end date parameter. Cool. Query, we have these parameters. Now we'd like to start adding them to our DAX query because we want to make things a little bit more dynamic. Press that FX again. We can go back, we can edit our original query. So if you are using the query building tools, we'll just do at start date. So that at expression here, and then the at end date. So before or greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, press OK, press OK. Awesome. Have our data set, have some parameters now added to our report. Order of operations, just, what is the order you want your end users to go through? You can move the parameters around. So maybe you want to have them do end date first, then start date, threshold, whatever it is you would like to kind of design, just know that these are flexible and you can move those. So in this example, we're going to go and insert a table. So just right click, insert, we'll do table. And then we'll choose here now, kind of occupation. And we're going to select a few things here. So let's expand out advanced mode. I see the clock is moving as quick here. So details, I'm going to right click on details. I'm going to say delete this group. So your step number 9, delete group only, get out of here. So I now have the table, just static values. I'm going to get rid of this third column. Don't need it, I only need 2. So delete the columns. Now we're going to go and add in occupations and then also insert lists. All right, I'm getting quick. I want to make sure I don't jump from folks. Insert list. So I've now added a list item. I want to bind this to my data set. So here on the right-hand side, general data set name. Just click on this, we'll choose occupations. Apologies, I'm not zooming here, it's just difficult. We'll drag the table now into this item. So I'll click on this top left, drag it over, drag it in, drop it. And then we'll add also just a text box here at the very bottom here. So I'll do occupation, then we'll do total sales. Get rid of this second row, don't need it. Insert a text box. We'll just call this now total sales results. Stylize it as needed. I feel like I'm raising the clock. All right. We'll see if we can't. The precision. I tell you, this is not a program for people with bad mice and precision arthritis. Let's do it. There we go. Woo. Oh, awesome. So total sales, I've got a header, I've got some text box, I've got a list. Let's just drop it in here now. We'll see how this looks. Adding my start dates. So let's just do 1/1/2007, 12/31/2007, threshold 2/5. Why not? Awesome. So thinking about that list, that iteration we did in the matrix, it's going through, it's taking out each one of these items. So for occupation, here's the skilled manual, professional, clerical, just iterating through each one of those items. So all I have is a table, kind of an occupation, a sum, total sales results. I'm going to add an indicator here real quick. Got 5 minutes, insert indicator. So I'm now thinking about kind of like a single value card, 3 symbols uncircled here, just the second option here in the symbols. Press OK. Now I have this added. And then I want to go ahead and just right click here into the properties of this indicator properties. For my values and states, I'm going to change values to total sales. Let me go back. All right, unspecified, total sales, sum, right click, get back in. Values and states, getting so close. Sum total sales. I'm going to change from percentage to a numeric. I'm going to delete the yellow. Get out of here second. I've got my results here. So I've got 0 as the starting point. 33, I'm actually going to change this now to my parameter value. So what is that minimum threshold? Use the parameter threshold. Double click. It's dynamic. What is the starting point of the next one? Let's go and make that dynamic here once again. Let's do parameters. Threshold +1, why not? Just making it one higher. And then what is that end result? We're going to use that sum function now here. So we're going to do, actually, I guess max. So max for my fields, total sales dot value. Press OK, getting out of here, getting so close. Awesome. I'm going to just stylize this here real quick. Let's do blue. Let's do white. Just make it look a little different. I'm going to run this here now. Press run. So we're iterating through a list. We have this table. We have the beginning. We have the end. We have all these parameters now that we're passing through. 1/1, 12/31, and then threshold, let's say 25,000. Are they above? Are they below? Giving our end users these what if parameters. Oh, I just missed it somehow. I was so close. Well, on the left-hand side here is how it would look. Let me go and pause here because I know we're at the top of the hour. Iterating through tables, iterating through matrices, adding these indicators, giving your end users these options to copy and paste, or I'm sorry, to insert values, whatever it is that they need to do, now unlocked. So if you are looking for those capabilities, I 100% would point you at Paginated Reports, especially as the visual is about to land in Power BI Desktop. I just think that this is such an incredible skill set for us to all start looking into building those muscles with. I always like to end my sessions with, where should I point you next? Continuing your journey. Paginated Reports in a day. It's about a 4.5-hour series available on Microsoft Docs, free, self-paced video content on demand. Go check it out. Paginated Report Recipes with Paul Turley. His book is incredible. He's been rewriting it here for the Power BI experience to make sure that what he's teaching you is supported. All of these are free. Go check out those resources. And then also Laura Graham Brown, she did a fantastic 12 days of Paginated Reports where she talks you through the art of the possible. Very easy videos to kind of digest. But let me pause there. Any additional questions? I know we went through a lot here in an hour, but hopefully your mind is kind of that light bulb has gone off. Think about Paginated more.
Alex, we don't have any specific questions in the chat, but there was a conversation in the chat that made me think of a more general question. People were talking about how they had stakeholders who wanted to, print out PowerPoint. Print out Power BI reports and put them in PowerPoint and so forth. They've still got this kind of old mindset of how to look at things and how to investigate their data. Any idea, any thoughts, comments on how you get stakeholders, maybe CEOs and so forth, to a new way of thinking about how to interact with their data?
Let me jump back over here. Give me 1 second here, because I've been doing this conversation with folks as well, especially for people coming over from maybe kind of legacy platforms. And the biggest point that I had that I kind of realized was kind of the crawl, walk, run mentality, where these beautiful summarized visual experiences where I can just click and drill anywhere I want in Power BI. It's not quite where they were at in their journey with analytics. So if they're looking for more of the operational, the very traditional style of reports, how do you get them that report, build that confidence? I think especially with that paginated report visual, this could open up some of those opportunities where they have both in one. So at that point, they see the awesome bars, Sankeys, but they also see their flat table matrices that they're comfortable with today. So kind of melding those two worlds for the ad hoc, where we were kind of talking with Dave earlier, where it's like, hey, people really just want to dive in and explore. I don't think that Power BI or Paginated is good for exploration in that way. If people want to drag and drop fields, just get something quick and dirty to put out the fire, created by the boss of the email that day, Excel, I think is always the way to go. But for people coming over from maybe like traditional Cognos, business objects, etc., if what they're comfortable with today is these tabular, these matrix style outputs, get that muscle built for them. Once they're out in Power BI more, then they start seeing the other reports and saying, hey, how do we do some of that other summarized views? I would love to hear though from others that are maybe going through that journey or that have completed that journey and are on the other side.
Yeah.
I think, sorry, Mike. Yeah, I mean, I think, Alex, I think also in other people, I think part of the issue as well is, especially working with charities, is people having to have Power BI licenses. So they've got to purchase licenses and things for a lot of people. So some of them just like to have a paper version that they can distribute around their office or distribute around their various offices so people can look at it. I know it's not great that you don't get your dynamic ability with a Power BI report, but I suppose there are certain challenges that people have.
And that's where I think premium per user is so exciting, because it lowers that barrier for entry, where you can create a paginated, you can export it and kind of, send it out, and whatever it may look like. If people just want something in their inbox, I'm always a fan of just, finding a solution to a problem. Let's move on to the next one. We can always kind of, work on the long journey of data culture and everything else, but meet people where they're at. I'm always a big fan of that.
We just had a couple of very quick questions. One, can a paginated report be published to the Power BI service, and can you schedule the exports? And so the answer to both of those is yes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the exciting part, is kind of the scheduling here. So especially if you have that consistent format, you're looking for more of like, I need this in a PDF output, or I need this in a Word doc output. Especially thinking about like the Power BI report page, where people are like, why isn't my table exporting all of the rows? Well, it doesn't do that. It takes a snapshot. Paginated meets that demand for multi-page exports perfectly.
All right, great. Well, it is 1:03. We're going to let people get back to work, but I just wanted to remind everybody that Steve Wexler is going to be presenting on how to use data visualizations to make better decisions faster. That is June 17th, I believe was a Thursday, if I may be mistaken, but June 17th at 11:30 a.m. It is up online on the meetup where you signed up for this one. That's where you go sign up for that one as well. That one is up there right now. And we're also looking at a Power BI dashboard contest for July. Alex, you're welcome to enter. And date TBD on that one, but basically a couple months from now. that's all that I've got. I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you guys very much. Alex, thank you for a terrific presentation. That was super helpful, very educational. Thank you for your time, everybody, and we'll let you get back to your day.
Thanks, everyone. Bye,
Thanks,
Michael.
Alex. Excellent job.
Oh, there was so much. Paginated, they're just full of configurations. That's what I'm learning. So if you feel like the Power BI desktop isn't meeting your needs, you know, there's 4,000 configurations over here in Paginated.
I gotta say, I'm amazed that you got through that much in an hour. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
I was amazed he was going to try to do it in an hour.
Yeah, I was looking at the 10-minute mark. I was like, what can I accomplish here? I got so close on that indicator, but I'll have to take another stab at it. Now I'm excited. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Like I said, the GitHub repo is always there for people to just follow in your own time. Just master the table. I mean, that's the easiest one to kind of just knock out, and then create a template for it too. Oh.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Alex. We'll see you Saturday.
Bye, Belinda.